Земляк, мы стрелять не хотим, мы так ожидаем. О, девка ебаная, ебаша руки парика.
Where I was already too. Damn it, kills. Oh, it's the same guy, man. Unfortunate.
Пацаны, да сладкие они, не ссыте.
That's bullshit, man. Oh, he got killed by Killa. That's funny.
Лови лимон, бандерлог! Гнида! Погоди, братух!
Brother. Oh my god. He just tanked so many bullets of SNB. Jesus. I don't know how he's alive, but jeez. What's up? Just hunting the boss. He apparently is invincible because I shot him so many times, but He invited my. He's rejecting it. He's accepted it and then removed me. That's funny. He knows I know he's cheating. That's funny. He changed his name? Oh, no, okay. That's funny. Boogly boogly. Well,
hand side, it's a great time to get an F1 on him. If he's on the right hand side, maybe don't try and do this. Is this naturally just going to roll away from him? Now the concussion radius is quite high on the F1 at 12 meters. The concussion radius is when your character's ears are all blown out, you have a hard time hearing. So you can utilize these to go ahead and throw them, concuss them, and then push up on them while they're having a hard time hearing. It's also great to just go ahead and utilize throwing grenades whenever you want to make loud noise and you don't want the enemy to have that information. So that's a little bit of a hidden tip. Aim them, it's going to concuss them, you can push up on them and secure the kill after that. Second fuse, you can throw it about 25% farther than an F1 grenade, and it doesn't have any roll pattern on it. It just wants to roll in a straight line. So use that to your advantage. If you have someone on that right hand side, left hand side, doesn't really concussion radius, so it doesn't suppress as much as something like the F1 would. Just like the F1 grenades, these are not bouncy whatsoever. If you throw them in a wall, they'll just drop straight down to the ground, so that's good to know as well. So where do I like to use the RGD? I personally like to use it on maps like woods, shoreline, anywhere I'm going to be fighting outside because of its extended throw distance over something like the F1, as well as its very predictable roll pattern. It's very predictable on uneven surfaces. I know where it's going to go, where something like the F1 with a left-hand roll, uneven terrain, it can really ramp off things and just end up way off target from where I threw it. The RGD is just so much more predictable on these outside maps, and it's just like the bread and butter of these outside maps for your mid-range to mid to long engagements. All right, now I want to talk about the M67 grenade. Now you guys really need to utilize the M67 grenade. I see hardly any players utilize this grenade whatsoever. I think the only other person I really ever see use this grenade is the Ruler Z, and he knows all the special properties of this grenade, and it gets him a lot of kills. It's one of the funnest grenades in the game, and it'll secure you a ton of kills and open up a brand new play style that you cannot play unless you utilize this grenade. So let's talk about the special properties of the M67. So the M67 is an extremely lightweight grenade, and because of that, your character can huck this thing. Pretend you're the best pitcher in Major League Baseball, and that is you when you throw M67s. You can throw these so far. Combine that with the fact that they have a 5-second fuse, you can do a lot of fun things. So you're going to hear 5-second fuse and you're going to wonder, how are you going to get kills with M67? It can be challenging if you treat it like a normal grenade. However, you're going to treat this like utility. So some cool things you can do with M67s is they have insane bounce properties, like the RGD or like the F1 grenade where they just hit a wall, they drop straight to the ground. The M67, you can throw it at a wall and it'll bank off it just exactly how you imagine it would and go behind cover. So you can use this to go ahead and bounce off multiple walls and get yourself out of a bad situation and cover you when otherwise you wouldn't be able to get out of a shitty situation. You can also go ahead and utilize the M67 to go ahead and aim it straight in the air, and because it has such a long fuse time, you really want to arc it up like you're looking almost directly in the sky, maybe aim down 10, 15, 20 degrees, and you'll get the feel for it depending on how far forward you need to get that grenade to land, and you throw it straight up in the air. Now what's that going to do? If you have an enemy behind cover, let's say behind a big piece of cover right in front of you, it's going to arc straight up and come down, and it's going to blow up right over their heads. They will not have any time to react to it. They won't hear it. It'll blow up like a foot above their head, and if any of that shrapnel gets near them, they're instantly dead. This grenade has a very average amount of shrapnel. It doesn't have the strongest shrapnel, it doesn't have the weakest shrapnel, but when you're using this airburst tech, you'll always kill them because it's hitting their face, their thorax, where most other grenades are going to be hitting their legs and stomach. Something that makes this airburst technology so much more valuable, and let's say maybe underhanding an F1 over or something, underhanding an RGD, like we mentioned, those are going to end up landing at their feet and they will have time to react to them. But also with this long fuse time, you're going to have time to throw the grenade, pull your gun out, and wait for that explosion. It's going to concuss them or kill them, and right as it's exploding, you swing around the corner. Around half a second later, they can't hear anything, they're already wounded, they're confused as to what just hit them, and you just gunned them down. I use this tech all the time, especially on maps like Streets of Tarkov, and it is a godsend. This is my go-to grenade on also maps like Labs. And one thing I like to do is, I told you earlier to always bring one type of grenade in your pockets because your character randomly fishes them out of his pockets. Something I'll do is, if I like a certain grenade, let's say for example I recommend you guys use the RGD on woods, for example, in the last grenade, M67s can still be a great tool with all the things I just mentioned. So what I'll do is I'll put one in my backpack, and if there's a time where it comes where I really need to have an M67 because it is a niche piece of utility, I'll pull it out, bind it, and quickly pull it out. It takes like an extra 2 seconds. That way I'm not accidentally pulling out an M67 when I need more of a standard grenade. The only other thing you need to know about the M67 is it has a straight roll. However, you're not going to really be rolling it down. I have a few times thrown one and just like let it roll down a street, so it will roll a long ways, and it's kind of hard to hear it like that, and it can go underneath, let's say a car for example, right between the wheels and blow someone up, but it's pretty hard to pull off, and I wouldn't say it's super consistent when doing that. So next thing I want to talk about is the VOG 17. So the VOG 17 is kind of like a mix between a M67 and then something more standard like an F1 grenade. So it has a shorter fuse time. First and foremost, it's a 3-second fuse time, so lower than the RGD, lower than the F1. Your enemies are not going to have a whole lot of time to prepare for this, but as a trade-off, the explosive radius as well as the concussion radius is going to be quite a bit lower. Just like the F1 grenade, it's going to have a lot of shrapnel, but not necessarily the strongest shrapnel. It'll likely wound them unless you really get it on target. Now, how can you get it on target? Well, the VOG 17 actually rolls to the right. And if you've been playing this game for a little while, maybe last wipe or so, you know, players fell in love with right-hand peeking. Now that we have shoulder swapping, it doesn't really matter what side you peek from, as your gun will get around the corner and you can get shots on target well. But a lot of people, let's say like labs only players, are still stuck in their ways of always peeking the same angles, the same right-hand angles over and over. Well, that's where the VOG 17 comes in handy. Some people are stuck in these old ways. It rolls down the hallway, it goes around to the right, and it's going to explode right on this guy who wants to get a right-hand peek on you. Additionally, it's a really short fuse, so this roll is really easy to utilize. If you're still stuck on Grenadier, I would make sure you're utilizing the VOG 17. Between that short fuse, between that right-hand roll, you're easily going to start mopping people up with the VOG 17. And I would just recommend you go ahead and utilize Mechanics Barter to get the VOG 17s. You can get them for a lot cheaper. Every reset, you can get 5 of these for 5 fuses, and it's cheaper than buying them off the flea market. The VOG 17 can bounce off walls a little bit, not nearly as good as an M67, but more than something like
Saturday.
Someone shooting out there. Yeah, right. The moment I peek, whatever, dude. Bro, why are there so many cheaters hunting killer right now? This is crazy. Like, what the hell? Like 1,100 hours and you're hunting killer? Right. Like, come on, bro. Of course you had eyes to me too, right? Alright. I gotta take a break, guys.